thing in my... There we go. Good Saturday morning to everybody, and welcome to HyperFit MD radio show, where age management is always front and center, along with Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin. I'm Gary Byron. Hey, folks.
Hey.
How are you this morning?
We're good. We're good. We always say that.
Yeah, you are. But
we are.
No, but we are.
I'm glad you are
We
good.
are,
You don't fake it. You are. You're doing well, and you look fantastic. What's new?
Not much. We've been just kind of, working. We've been, God bless us. I mean, we've been really busy this summer. It's been a very busy summer. The weather hasn't been great, so we haven't really ventured out that much. We've just basically been working, and things are going great for everything for us. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Summer's just about, well, on the calendar. I know summer still has weeks to go here.
Right.
You got...
Right.
Yeah, you got Labor Day weekend here. It's
And fall time is our time because we get on the Harley and we take long trips and stuff like that in the fall time. Summertime, August and whatnot, to be on a motorcycle is pretty hot. So we basically wait till we do it mostly in the spring and in the fall. So pretty much every fall we take a long trip on the Harley. So we got to plan that trip.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Did you want to?
Yeah, I want to start this one with a story.
Oh.
Okay? And actually, Francesca is going to tell you the story because this is a phone call that she had with one of our patients. His name's Bob. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one morning I get this phone call and it made me feel really, really sad. And I feel like we need to use our voice to help women out there. Menopause should not defeat you, but the story that my patient said is like, I'm so frustrated. I can't date women my own age. He's mid 50s.
Mm-hmm.
He said all the women I date are not motivated to go out walking on the beach, hiking. They drink every night. They get drunk every night. They're a little overweight. And he just he said, I have to look at 40-year-old women. And myself, I'm a 59-year-old woman, and I love going on the beach. I love hiking. I love exercising. And it doesn't matter what you do, women out there. Find something that you enjoy. Go walking, start yoga, go swimming, go on a bicycle, a stationary bicycle. Just find something to get moving and learn a little bit about nutrition. Just get motivated, and then I'll let.
Yeah, well,
Chuck
we
go
just
ahead.
wanted. Francesca and I just thought we could use that conversation that she had as a taking off point. Just because, just because for instance, the allopathic community. I another woman that came in yesterday. I had a long conversation with her, and she's going through hell because she's in menopause, and she went to her gynecologist, who's a local a gynecologist right in Milford, and told her that she was going through hell. And this gynecologist literally said, and this gynecologist is a young woman, she's like 35, 36, said to her, well, that's in menopause. It was like, one of my other patients who's a hockey player, he used the phrase skate it off. She basically told her to skate it off, It's menopause. You're going to go through this. It's life, blah, blah, blah. And she was, she's miserable. She came to us, and we're going to help her. It's as simple as that. And I think that a lot of people, men and women, in this particular case, this story starts with women, but it's men too, because we hear the same kind of things from women who are out there. And just kind of wanted to use it as a takeoff point.
No, I'm glad that you shared that story. I'm just curious, though. What do you think is keeping people from doing something about the changes that are occurring with menopause and andropause?
I think part of it is a confirmation bias that exists in the world because of bad science that was done about this stuff back in the 90s and the 2000s, okay? A lot of it is the fact that the the regular physician community is just not on board in any sense with people getting a grip on the changes that are happening to them as they get older. They're not participating and they're not helpful in that regard. And much of what I hear from patients is that, the doctors will just say to them with an incredulous look on their face, why are you doing that, Or cardiology, this one makes me laugh because a lot of what we do comes straight from the cardiology literature. And I have patients whose cardiologists tell them that they should come off testosterone because it's bad for their heart. That literally makes me laugh out loud because if you do a survey of the cardiology literature out there, randomized peer-reviewed data clearly shows that that optimizing a person hormonally, whether it's testosterone or estrogen and progesterone and testosterone in women, that in the case of women, is cardioprotective. We've talked about this before. The incidence of cardiovascular events drops precipitously in a person who has been optimized from a hormonal standpoint, aside from the quality of life aspects of it. So a lot of it is pushback from their own physicians who tell them, they get that shrug of the shoulders, the shrug of the shoulders where they just, you're getting older. You're getting older.
So what's the problem with growing old naturally then?
That's a really good question because let's define naturally, okay? Let's define the word natural, all right? Because I hear that all the time. It's one of the things, a person will come into me with a series of complaints, all of which are related to the changes that occur to us as we get older, hormonal changes especially, and they'll say, well, I'm not sure about this. I kind of want to grow old naturally, okay? And so what is naturally? Naturally means that, let me back up a little bit. Mother Nature is done with you when you are done having children, all right? We're no different than cockroaches or mice, okay? We are here to procreate, all right? You climb the mountain and you ask the bearded man, who looks a lot like Ryan, by the way, the bearded man, you go on the top of the mountain and you ask the bearded man at the top of the mountain, why am I here? And he'll say, to procreate, dude. That's the only reason you're here, okay? So Mother Nature is done with us when we have gone through menopause and andropause. And the rest of it, if you want to call it growing old naturally, is just the constant diminution of our health and our quality of life as we get older because nobody is helping us do something about it, okay? The physician community, and I'm a physician, okay? I'm an MD. I was a surgeon for 35 years before I opened this practice, okay? Much of healthcare in this country is about giving people pharmaceuticals to deal with their symptoms. On average, a woman who's going through menopause and is miserable will be given an antidepressant by their gynecologist. These are people who are supposed to know this stuff, okay? These are people who are supposed to be the students of the hormonal milieu of a woman who's getting older, okay? And yet, this is what they prescribe. Or they'll slap an estrogen patch on them, which is dangerous, by the way. So on and so forth. So that thing, the whole thing about growing old naturally, and by the way, the science has been done about this stuff, okay, which makes the question about growing old naturally a philosophical question, all right? It is no longer about health, okay? When the science has been done about this to the point where we can safely say to a person, when I put you on testosterone, I am not increasing your risk for prostate cancer. When I say to a woman, if I put you on a balanced hormone program, when I put you on a balanced hormone program as you get older, I am not increasing your risk for breast cancer. The science has been done. Therefore, the concept of growing old naturally is a philosophical question. Okay?
I mean, but are there inherent dangers in approaching old age, by the way that you're advocating?
That's my point entirely. My point is that the inherent dangers really lie in growing old naturally.
Well, what about cancer risks?
Cancer, again, the science has been done about this stuff. The cancer risk of let me back up a little bit. Let's say I have 100 women in my practice, okay? Mm-hmm. 1 out of 8 women in this country get breast cancer before they drop into the grave. At some point in their lifetime, they're going to get breast cancer, which means of 100 people and 100 people in my practice, 12 women are going to get breast cancer when they are under my care, all right? Of those 12 women, every single one of them has a sister-in-law, a doctor, an oncologist, a priest who's going to tell them that I gave them breast cancer because I have them on estrogen, okay? The science clearly shows that they are wrong about that. If a woman's going to get breast cancer, she's going to get it. Putting them on a balanced program of estrogen and progesterone does not enhance their risk for breast cancer. Now, one of the things I ask every single woman that comes through my practice is, do you have a family history of breast cancer? And if the answer to that is yes, then we have a very long talk about this. And most of it is a talk about the medical legal aspects of doing what I do for a living.
You know, you mentioned the pharmaceuticals a moment ago. And I'm just going to digress for one moment.
Feel free.
My wife and I, we watch Jeopardy almost every night. All right. Usually as we're eating a late dinner. And she turns to me, I don't know, a few weeks ago and says, look at another pharmaceutical commercial. And then there'll be a promo for a show coming up on that network, which is not a commercial, it's a promo.
Yeah.
Because they're not making money on it. They're promoting their own network. And then it's a pharmaceutical. And then there'll be a car dealership. And then there'll be a pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
You're going to notice, or maybe you already have, is that there's more pharmaceutical commercials in primetime television nowadays than ever before. People don't even realize it.
Yeah.
You know, because there are these feel-good ads where, they're playing football in the backyard. You got some middle-aged guy, and he's catching the ball, and he's starting to run. They do slow motion, and you got this nice voiceover with the voice of God telling you that. And so...
And at the end, they go, because they're telling you about all the things that this thing's going to do to you.
Which are worse than the actual reason why you're taking the prescription in the first place.
Right, exactly.
Side effects.
Right.
Yeah, well, yes. But we are living in, and they're not, pharmaceuticals are not there to cure anything. They don't make any money if you're cured. It's to treat the symptoms of it.
Exactly.
So as a physician, I mean, is there kickback that physicians get for prescribing pharmaceuticals?
No. The kickback that they get is having an answer for a patient because, the whole idea of these commercials, by the way, is to get a patient to go to their doctor and ask for this medication, okay? The whole concept of doctors getting kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies is old and it's bull-tookie, okay? It's just not true. I was a physician for I am a physician. I was a surgeon for 35 years. Marketers came to my office every single day, and maybe the most I got out of it was a pen with their name on it, okay? If you want to call that kickback, go for it, okay? I think what physicians get from it is having an answer for a patient. I'm a diabetic, and I'm out of control, and so on and so forth. What we do in our practice is we talk to those people a lot about their lifestyle, and we try to help them change their lifestyle. I'm not going to take a type 1 diabetic and get them off insulin. What I'm going to try to do, however, is to help them feel better as they go through their lives. There's no kickbacks. The kickback comes to the physician because it gives him or her an answer for somebody who's coming to them with a very specific symptom. A symptom.
But it's true that they're not out to cure anything.
No, what cure? I take an antihypertensive every single day. Okay, what happens if I don't take my antihypertensive? My blood pressure goes up. All right, it's not there. It's not there to cure anything. Okay, the medications that a type 2 diabetic takes, those medications are designed to take glucose and push it into the cells. And by the way, which cells does it push it into? It pushes it into the fat cells. Most anti-diabetic medications, with probably the exception of metformin, makes us fatter. Okay, although it does keep us from dying from diabetes. All right, many of the sequelae of being a diabetic don't go away by taking these symptoms. I'm taking these medications. The whole key from my standpoint is what we try to do is we try to help people work on the underlying cause of what's making them sick or making them miserable, okay? And getting old, menopause, andropause, so on and so forth, are a very key component of the things that befall us as we get older. Osteopenia, okay? Bone mineral density issues. We never talk about sarcopenia. By the way, the average postmenopausal woman loses about 10% of her muscle mass every 8 years as they go through life. What kills old women? Falls, right? They have no muscle mass to control a fall, and when they do fall, they come apart like a cheap suit because their bones are in bad shape. What leaves a marriage after menopause and andropause? Intimacy, okay? What's the fundamental truth about a marriage that holds it together is touching somebody, being in physical contact with a person because you want to be. What's one of the things that leaves us as we get older? Libido, the desire to be in touch or to touch the person that we are living in the same house with, okay? All of these things leave us as we get older. Most of them are hormonally driven, and the whole concept that not providing those God-given entities to a person as they get older, okay, the whole concept of refusing that to them because of some confirmation bias, some notion that it's bad for them, is almost criminal. It's almost criminal.
But not everything can nor should be treated pharmaceuticals. There are homeopathic and naturopathic ways,
Sure.
right?
By the way, I don't
be.
include hormone replacement in the list of pharmaceuticals, okay? This stuff is isomolecular stuff. It is exactly the same molecule that our bodies crank out our entire youthful life, okay? So I don't lump them into the
Why is there such controversy though with hormone replacement? Because I've heard people talk about, no, you don't want to do hormone replacement.
Yeah.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Where's the controversy? I don't.
The controversy lies in what's called a confirmation bias. Confirmation bias says that we believe the first thing that we hear about something, okay? The example I always use is what vegetable can you eat to improve your eyesight?
Yeah, the carrots, right?
The carrots,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, there's no truth in that.
There's no truth in that at all. It all comes from World War II when the British were shooting down German planes wholesale because they invented radar, and the German spies were trying to find out how they were doing this, and they floated the rumor that all of their gunners were eating carrots because carrots are good for your eyesight. That has been a confirmation bias that's been in the world since the 1930s, okay? That's the perfect example of a confirmation bias.
But to answer Gary's question, there are synthetic hormones and there are bioidentical.
Well, then let's distinguish them then.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where the negativity is coming from.
That's a very good point. Yeah, most of the studies that were done in the 90s and the 2000s about hormone replacement were all done in women, and they were all done with Premarin and Provera, which are bench-made hormone analogs, let's call them. They're not hormones. Premarin is what's called a conjugated equine estrogen. It is a estrogen that's made from horse urine, the urine of pregnant mares, okay? A very small percentage of that is bioidentical human female estrogen. The vast majority of that is horse estrogens, okay? The stuff is garbage. Provera, which is even worse, because the whole confirmation bias out there amongst the GYN community is that the only reason a woman needs progesterone is because progesterone protects the uterus. So if you've had a hysterectomy, okay, you don't need progesterone. Provera, by the way, is not a progesterone. It is a progestin. What we say in my business is if you don't have a brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, or a liver, you don't need progesterone. Every single cell in the female body has receptors for progesterone. Progestins, the only cells in the female body that have receptors for progestins are uterine cells. So these docs, for years and years, we all have moms, okay? They're from the era, my mom anyways, from the era where every woman, if they looked at a doctor cross-eyed, had their uterus taken out. So most of these women were given conjugated equine estrogens with no progesteronic protection from the estrogen that they were taking. They were all in, a lot of docs don't like this phrase, estrogen dominance, okay? And being in estrogen dominance puts you at risk for thrombotic stroke, breast cancer, so on and so forth, because they were given the wrong hormones, okay? Bioidentical or isomolecular hormones is the secret to the safety of everything that we do.
Folks, you are listening to HyperFit MD, where age management is front and center always. It's a preventative medicine practice out of Milford. We're talking with Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin. You can contact them at 203-890-977 and check out their website at hyperfitmd.com. I'm Gary Byron. I've heard you discuss not so long ago on this show, in the recent past, the concept of health span. Well, what does that refer to?
There's lifespan and there's health span, and it's a euphemistic term that we use in a practice like this, okay? Just say that I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to live longer if you work with us. What I am guaranteeing is that you're going to live better. Our practice, to a very large degree, is a quality of life practice. And the way that we support quality of life is by keeping a person healthy well into old age. We call it a health span.
Health span.
Yeah.
And how does a person, let's say, start, the changes in their lifestyle that will result in improving their health span?
Come to us. I mean, bottom line is you
well,
come.
That's a quick answer.
Well, bottom line is that you come to us, and the first thing that we do with everybody is do a broad spectrum metabolic survey. We do boatloads of blood work, way past that executive panel that your doc does every year. We do body comp analysis. For the people who are interested in, we do VO2 max studies, which will tell them where they are in terms of their fitness in comparison to other people their age.
Oh.
We do resting metabolic rate. So basically, at the very beginning, we give them more information about what's happening in their body than they really want to know, quite frankly. And that source is an enormous source of motivation for people. And we sit down with them and create a plan with them, okay? I consider myself a consultant to a very large degree. I can say to a person, look, this is what we've learned about you in the last couple of days. Let's sit down and let me describe to you what I would do if you were my brother, okay? If you were my brother or you were my child, this is what I would want you to do for yourself to help you improve all the things that you came to me about. Trust me, every single person that comes through our door has a fairly confined, specific list of problems that they came to us for, and we listen. The difference between us and probably a lot of places is that we listen, If you sit down with a doc and this is a study that was done, by the way, the length of time between the time a physician asks a person, what can I do for you today or whatever, and the time that he interrupts that patient is 17 seconds on average, okay? When I used to teach medical students, I would say, ask the question and then sit the hell down and shut up, okay? Because if you listen to somebody long enough, they'll tell you why they came. They'll tell you what they think has caused the problem that they were there with. And then they will tell you, they'll start by telling you what they think they need to do to make it better, which is an enormous amount of information because it tells you where their head is at in the moment that they come to you. And their goals, yeah.
So they may come there for one thing, and you may have a possible solution. There might be more than one. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. There might
Absolutely.
be more than one solution. But that could also be linked to something else as well, right? Maybe something that they didn't even know that they were there for.
Yeah. Yeah, cause and effect and cause and
Cause
effect.
and effect,
cause and effect.
right.
Yeah.
So realistically, somebody will walk into your office saying, I got this issue.
Yeah.
And you, through a series of questions, just through your own analysis, your time spent with them asking them questions, they may end up finding out that there's more to it than just what they came in for.
Yeah, I mean, look, what is the one that we hear the most? I'm getting fat, okay? I'm 60 years old. But they understand that
it's diet, buddy, okay? You do a little exercise, but watch your diet even more than.
But by the same token, there are hormonal changes that make it very difficult to make progress, okay? Because a lot of people come to us and they're getting fat or they're turning into an apple, let's say, and they're walking the walk. They're seeing a trainer 3 times a week. They're eating super clean. They've already been to a nutritionist, okay? So they're eating super clean and they're not getting anywhere. A lot of the secret to that is the things that have been deprived of them as they've gotten older through no fault of their own, just by getting older.
Well, your metabolism slows down as you get older as well.
Sure. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there were days, I remember in my 20s, boy, I was coming back from an event that I was doing when I was a mobile DJ. I was doing someone's wedding, and I ended at midnight, and I'm working up an appetite. I've broke everything down. I'm driving back. There's a McDonald's open 24 hours. Yeah. I ate 2 Big Macs, a large fry, and one of their sundaes. I'm 28 years old with a 29-inch waist. And I'm fine. I don't put any weight on. Now, I can't even look at a picture of that without putting weight on.
Yeah, we're all there.
Well, yeah. So, but knowing that, and any nutritionist and any health expert would be the first to tell you that. I mean, there's common sense things in which you just shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that.
Part of this though.
People don't know.
Yeah, exactly what I was about to say. Part of this is the thought that much of this is common sense. Much of what science of nutrition, for instance, tells us is that most of what people think that they know about what's healthy to put in their mouth, they're just absolutely dead wrong. And watching TV and stuff like that gives them no information that's useful at all. For instance, everybody comes to me and says that they've gained weight. What do we tell them? Get off the freaking scale. The first time I talk to anybody is throw the scale away. It's giving you no useful information. It's only a source of frustration. Okay, intuitively we think that as we get heavier, we're getting less healthy. And to a large degree, that's true. But I used to give lectures all the time, and I had these images up. I had this one woman who was 140 pounds, and she looked chubby. Okay, she kind of looked out of shape. She went on a diet, one of those 30-pound in 30 days diets, okay, that you see on TV all the time. She lost 30 pounds. She was 140 pounds. She went to 110 pounds, and she looked like she was dying of some horrible disease, okay? Third picture is that woman at 140 pounds, having gone appropriate nutrition, appropriate exercise, understanding in a fundamental way the way her body works, and she was 140 pounds, and she was jacked, okay? She was a beautiful woman carrying muscle in the appropriate places, okay? She looked so freaking healthy. It was unbelievable. And that's where the scale lies to us every day, you know? We do DEXA scanning in our practice, which tells us, you know, a patient will come to me, I've been doing all this, I've been killing myself for 2 months, I haven't lost a pound. We put them on the DEXA scanner. I say, okay, well, guess what? You've lost 8 pounds of fat and you've gained 8 pounds of muscle during that period of time. You're healthier than you were when you came to me.
I think people are looking for, especially when it comes to, since you bring up weight loss as being a primary reason why many people come and see you, they think that you can take some magic pill and maybe an appetite suppressant or something, and where they're starving themselves, which of course, as we all know, is the unhealthy way to lose weight. You'll lose the weight, all right, and you're not going to be. You'll be lethargic all day and tired. What good are you then?
Yeah, that's why we talk about losing fat. We don't talk about losing weight.
Folks, I'm sure you'd love to continue this conversation, or maybe you've got an issue yourself that you would love to talk to Dr. Charles Guglin about at a more personal level. There's a couple of ways that you can contact him. Number one, they're at 88 Noble Avenue, Suite 105 in Milford. I would say start with their website. May even get your question answered, but who knows, if you're like me, it could spark new questions. HyperFitMD.com. Again, HyperFitMD.com. You can also email him at cguglinmd. That's CGUGLINMD at HyperFitMDAMC.com. Or do it the old-fashioned way. Make an appointment. Give him a call. 203-890-9777. Again, 203-890-9777. For Dr. Charles and Francesca Guglin, I'm Gary Byron. Until next Saturday, have a good one, everybody. So long.
You might go out the back way and I wouldn't miss you, so.
Okay. Right. Here.
Thank you.
There you go, Ryan.
Ryan?
Thank you. You're welcome. Nice meeting you.
Carrie Ann doesn't eat hot stuff.
Yeah. Enjoy.
I heard her say she's about the spicy food.
Do it.
Like, oh, she's gonna love that.
What does Catherine make it? Or does she sell it? Or?
No,
It's a promotion
Oh,
for
it's a
the
promotion.
radio.
Oh, full power radio. Stupid. Might as well try to read it. And,
Well, fabulous.
Wow, you
Thank
did. You're juggling all the time.
Not all the time.
You did, huh?